of a performance like this where at times it looked really good and you probably got to the end result that you were looking for, but at times there was a little bit of,
Yeah, I think, I'm very thankful for the win, and certainly we came back and had a nice margin. I feel like, some of our freshmen had some amazing moments, and we had some freshman moments, right? We're trying to get a lot of different combinations and some minutes. I have to look back at the film and see, was there things that I had a different combination that maybe that type of set wasn't as good? So that I want to make sure I get that first to look at the film. But I just think that's, we got everybody, most of them got a pretty good amount of minutes. And, I think we had some pretty good contribution. I love our assists. This is the real one. That's the halftime one. I wish we wouldn't have had the lulls, but I tend to focus on the positive. We had the lull, but we were able to, this particular time we kind of stayed gritty and we righted the ship a little bit.
Just what was, I guess, most impressive early about the freshmen kind of holding things down there in the second quarter and being, the catalyst after they made that first push?
Yeah, I think that just, it's fun to see those flashes, right? That's why they were a pretty highly decorated class. And I think in my mind, when we when we had the lull, we shot quickly, we had turnovers, and we didn't stay true to what we typically do. And that sometimes is everybody that you recruit to bring in, they pretty much have the very green light. And so they're kind of used to creating and they're used to taking it. And I think probably we just kind of forced some things. But that stretch when they came in, it was like they kind of hit just about every right note. And I just think what's nice about that is they got some good minutes and they could store that, right? Then in the third quarter, we flipped it a little bit, right? But I think this class has a lot of great potential, and I think that spurt really showed it.
Jack.
Sorry.
No, you're all right.
I want to ask about Taylor, because she has this factor that I can't think of a word for it, but it's basketball IQ, passing, tight windows. I hate to even bring the name, but it's a little Clark-esque in her ability to do that. What gives her the confidence to do that?
Well, the most similarity is that she have no fear. She's just not afraid to make a mistake. So she's gonna, that reference, she's gonna push it through if she sees it. And there's not a thought like, oh shit, am I gonna be in trouble? Which a lot of freshmen have. She just goes with it. And, it cuts both ways sometimes, but I've appreciated that since Taylor Sherman stepped on campus. She's been throwing long court passes on a break, long before she should be, right? But she just has a fun sense. She has a fun style. She doesn't play scared. And I think that's what makes her really enjoyable to coach. And I think that's what makes her enjoyable to watch, because she's just playing, to make something happen. And that's a pretty free way to play, and few freshmen can do it.
Joe.
Yeah, sometimes, with freshmen, you bring one or two in at a time and let them roll with the veterans, but you had four in there together a lot.
Yeah.
Was that something you've been doing a lot in practice? And I think like Taylor was plus 23 in the first half. Just those two stretches where the four freshmen were out there together in the first half.
I tend to try to roll with it. And sometimes that's not always great. Sometimes you roll a little too long. But we've just trying different combinations. And Hannah was in foul trouble. So that's why we had a little bit more, maybe four in there at the same time. But I was confident to try it. I wouldn't say that, it was always stellar, but I'm confident enough in them that I feel like we got to get them in some of those pressure minutes that, come what may right now, if I feel like we can go with it, that I hope will yield a lot of great positive results later in the season. But I feel like, in practice we do try to throw different combinations in there and trying to see, who, what I really like to see is who makes who better, right? A lot of times, we all keep track of points and rebounds, but what I like to see is when people understand that I need to get it to McCabe, and this is how I get it to her. I need to feed the ball to a post because, they're 4 for 5. So I've been really trying to track that in practice. And so that's what you saw today, was just trying to, probably trying to see what it looked like in a real game, not just practice.
Scott.
Kind of along the lines of for Taylor, it seems like in the past you've had almost doubled up with a younger and a veteran who has kind of this aura, a glue aura. It was easy to say with Kate before,
Right.
but even somebody, a couple of years before that, Kathleen, just tough on the floor, you smack the floor and there we
Right.
go. And Taylor seems to
Clap in
fit.
your face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
A little more boisterous than
Right,
other
right.
people, but Taylor seems to have that kind of it factor where she can do so many different things, and you kind of
Yeah.
alluded to it. Does she follow that same line of maybe Sid and then maybe Kate?
Absolutely. That's what I mean. And she can handle just even being in the sentence. And she doesn't, it's a compliment to her, but she doesn't lean and think, oh gosh, can I do it? And I don't think, Kate has always been a captain's captain, and Sid is tremendous. So I'm not writing it like she's going to be exactly in their footsteps, but she definitely deserves to be in that conversation. She plays with the fearlessness. She is so caring. To be a leader, you kind of have to have a pulse outside yourself. And as a freshman, it's not always easy because you're answering to everybody at home, how you playing, how come you're not starting, or how come you're not getting minutes. And so your world is putting all this, singular thought in your mind, where Strimlow is able to be like, you good? Are you good? You good? All right. Awesome. Way to go. Plus, she can play without fear. And so she has all the makings. So now with her work ethic and all the commitment that she'll continue to make, but she just is a joy. The whole freshman class is, but Taylor just has a little sparkle in her eye, and I think the fans you can see that. And she just has a relentlessness in practice. To get a rebound, to dive, to do all the things that never show up in the box score.
Zach.
Coach, when you look back at this past year of 2024, with where you guys were earlier in the year, Caitlin Clark become the all-time leading scorer, back-to-back finals appearances, and now you at the helm of this new group with that mixture of veterans and the newcomers that contributed immensely today. What's this year been for you, just this trajectory from the beginning to the end?
Yeah. It's been a heck of a year, boy. I've been so blessed, but I was blessed in, 2000 and 2001 and 2 and all the way up to 23, 24. My ride here has been something, and so was my ride earlier. But I think the deal is you just don't slow down. Like I've never felt the day go faster, and so I haven't really reflected on that till you asked. But it was a friend before you. They had texted and said, "Wow, what a year you've had," and it encompassed not just the highs, but the loss of our dear former player Jamie Cavey. We were just talking about everything this year had encompassed, and I would like to, while we're there, how classy was that at Katie Gerald's. Katie Gerald's played against Jamie. And I just, Katie is really thoughtful. When I lost my dad, she was one of the first to call, sent flowers to the office. Just a really, really classy move, and it was really touching. But yeah, the year has been, it went really fast when I got the job in May and up until now. So I try to slow down. I've really always been the one on staff that made everybody stop and smell the roses. I think Lisa and everybody would tell you that. I've been trying to do that. I don't think I've done it quite as good since May, but I've tried to enjoy the moments. Yeah.
Jack.
Jan, points and rebounds and plus minus, those things are easy for us, like C minus, basketball minus, the sort of understand.
Yeah.
But when you were talking before about how the five on the floor understand each other, can you go more into that and what worked today in those high highs, those high moments where the five, can you put into words how the understanding
Yeah.
works on the floor?
Well, I think they were trying to play to each other's strengths, right? And I think that's what I want people, like, when you really get there, like, you kind of know when to penetrate this way because Taylor's in the corner. You kind of know when to, you know, there's 2 or 3 different options on some of our plays. So I can't always sit there and say, you know, run, you know, play 5, but look for the 3rd option, you know. But when you start to understand it, you know you're going to bypass the 1 look because you know you want to get it to Hannah, because Hannah is right now, as the kids say, eating, right? Is like, she just is like, so you don't have a lot of time. But today I saw that. Today I saw, like, okay, I really could take it here during that spurt. I could take it, but I know that if I just trust what the play's supposed to do, we're going to get there. So I saw that more. And then, you know, it helps when you hit shots. It helps when, you know, it sets up where there's a dive. And I mean, how, you know, Taylor had that nice little Euro with the finish that was dramatic, right? That just all plays into it. So you get a little bit lucky with some of the momentum. But I think they were trying to understand it more. And I love seeing 20 assists. I believe Bailey, didn't we have 20 the other day too? And that's, you know, to me, that's an understanding a little bit more of the offense, you know. So that I thought was really positive.
Kyle? Aaliyah Guyton made some shifty plays today. I was curious to hear your thoughts on her performance today. And is she getting closer to having the leash off and be able to have a no minutes restriction?
Yeah. No, I think she is getting closer to that for sure. You know, I just think she's a player. And, you know, she took 3 ill-advised shots, all 3s, right? She came down, and then there was one when she penetrates. I think she ended the game with that beautiful, right, penetration and layup off the glass. You know, with a kid like that, you got to give him a little bit, because part of what makes her so great is that reading and that freedom. And I think when she comes back and gets more and more confident, she's going to hit more than she does in the shots that you're like, no, okay, good shot, right? Mm-hmm. But today, I think she only went 1 for, what'd she go, from the 3, 1 for 6 or something like that. Where's she? That's my halftime run again.
Yeah, 1 for 6, 4 of 11 overall.
And that's low for her. If you see her in practice, she's pretty much money. So I just think she forced a few, but I didn't mind it. We're going to talk about it in the film. And she's going to start to understand that. But I kind of like she went for it. I'd rather than be aggressive and go for it than play timid. You play timid in this league and it ain't going to work out for you. So I just believe in that my whole career and trying to live with them as they learn. And they get more minutes if they show you they learn, right?
Last one, Scott.
Ava Hayden seems to have an incredible starter kit for somebody, you know, to come in, and then she was 9 and 8 today, but it was also the other plays she was making, whether she was in good position, she was fighting for loose ball. She's got really good athletic ability for her size. You as the post whisperer, I don't know if you passed that along, but what do you see from her, not only today, but how she's grown since she started practice and been on campus, and where do you see the trajectory, at least the end of this year, not necessarily in 4
right.
years?
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm really pleased, you know, with, you know, she's coming. You know, she played a nice AAU program. She played a high school that wasn't as successful overall, but just that, you know, she faced a lot. She didn't really play with her back to the basket a lot. So we were starting, and you never know till you get here where they are. So we kind of started a little bit. I didn't know where she'd be, but we taught her a little bit more. So we're kind of learning, like, you know, how much to, you know, give her a little bit more freedom. You know, she really faced a lot. You know, Randy works with the post a lot. You know, that's the one thing when you become a head coach, you kind of have to give up that day to day. But her, you know, just what she can do athletically. She's got a bounce, she can run, she can rebound. So if she continues to stay the course and really stays disciplined, I'm just such an old school post coach, you know. They probably like Randy's a little bit, you know, new age. But I just think, like, mastering the touch, mastering just the forward pivot stuff. If we can get her to keep mastering that, and then you keep seeing some of the athletic stuff she can do off the bounce, I think she could be pretty dang good.
Thanks, Jeremy.